Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to everyone. Today, our group will present a thorough literary analysis of The Kitchen Boy by Alaa Al-Aswany, one of the Egypt's most acclaimed modern writers. This short story may appear to revolve around a hospital and its hierarchy, but beneath that setting lies a powerful critique of how authority, humiliation, and moral compromise shape human behavior. Our presentation will unfold in three important parts. First, I will discuss the setting, background, and overall plot development so we can understand how the institution itself becomes the kitchen. Second, Tuan Danish will analyze three major scenes. First, the appointment interview. Second, failure and desperation. And the last one is the transformation, including tone, symbolism, and emotional conflict. Lastly, Badariah will unpack the characters, themes, tone, and message, connecting the story's meaning to a multicultural context and universal human experiences. Let's begin by exploring where the story takes place and what kind of world our protagonist Hisham must survive in. Let's dive into setting and social context. The story unfolds in the Al-Qasr Al-Aini Medical Complex in Cairo, which is one of the most respected and competitive hospitals in Egypt. This respected institution lies a strictly stratified hierarchy, where hierarchy at the very top sits Dr. Bassioni as the chairman, followed by the professors and lecturers, then residents and interns, and at the bottom hierarchy is nurses and assistants. It is important to realize that in this context, the word kitchen doesn't mean an actual cooking area. It symbolizes the systematic hierarchy where power flows downward. To make it simple, it is from those in charge to those forced to obey. The setting therefore becomes more than a backdrop. It becomes a living metaphor for social inequality. The story reflects contemporary Cairo, which on the late 20th to early 21st century, where advancement depended on who you know rather than what you know. Even small visual details like Bassioni's long tie, flashy colors, and his extravagant office symbolize performative power and ego. The social climate is ruled by patronage, charisma, and fear, and not even fairness. So, from the very beginning, the environment is toxic yet realistic, mirroring many institutions around the world and where corruption hides behind prestige. With this setting in mind, let's walk through the story's plot structure and see how Hisham's journey unfolds from idealism to moral downfall. Next, we move on to the plot structure. The plot follows Hisham, our protagonist, a young, brilliant medical graduate. He is intelligent, polite, and hardworking, everything an ideal surgeon should be. But the moment he enters the surgical department, his belief collides with a harsh reality. First, we look at the exposition. On his first day, Hisham is told by the chairman himself, Dr. Bassioni, that he is just a kitchen boy. This is not a friendly metaphor, it's a deliberate ritual humiliation that marks every newcomer. It sets the tone of obedience and fear that defines the entire workplace. Secondly, is rising action. Despite his talent, Hisham faces continuous mental torture from his seniors, especially when Professor Dr. Mansour mocks him, saying he will never do as a surgeon. This repeated verbal abuse destroys Hisham's confidence and creates self-doubt. Third, we move on to climax. After failing his master's exam, not because of his lack of skill, but because he failed to please Bassioni. Hisham's despair reaches its peak. He meets privately with the chair in a closed-door session. Nobody knows what happens inside, but afterward, everything changes. We move on to the falling action and resolution, where Hisham becomes Bassioni's favorite aide, enforcing the same system of humiliation on others. He scolds nurses, he punishes juniors, and echoes his master's line, "Would the Pasha be happy?" By the end, Hisham achieved professional success, but at what cost? It cost his moral identity. Now that we have covered the structure, Tuan Danish will walk us through the major scenes where all these turning points come to life.
In the bustling halls of Al-Qar's Al-Ain Hospital, a young man named Hisham Fakri began his new life as a resident doctor. Known for his brilliance and humility, he dreams of becoming a great surgeon. But in this place, dreams often collide with power.
Hi sir, good morning. My name is Hisham Fakri. I'm the new resident doctor.
Wait outside. Um, Sorry, sir.
Now boy, do you know what your job here is? My job, to assist in surgery and learn how to...
No. Your job here is that of a kitchen boy.
Pardon me sir? A kitchen boy? Exactly. You'll do the dirty work. You wash, clean, and obey orders without questions. The kitchen boy will collect the onion peelings and get shouted by the cooks. That's you, my dear resident.
And remember, everything has a price. If you want to become a surgeon, you must pay with sweat, toils, including humiliation. And if I like you, maybe you'll become a lecturer. If I don't, then you'll get sent back to the Minister of Health, where you get to do the donkey works with the rest of the donkeys there.
Yes, sir.
Enough. Get out. Go to the personnel and do the paperwork.
And so began Hisham's journey, but not as a surgeon in training, but as a kitchen boy in a world ruled by power and fear.
Okay, now we'll take a look at scene 1. Okay, scene 1 takes place in Dr. Bassioni's office, where the atmosphere is very serious, intimidating, and hierarchical. Okay, from the very start, power defines every word. Bassioni looks down on Hisham and calls him a kitchen boy. This phrase might sound a bit simple, but symbolically, it tells us that Hisham's job is to serve, not to think, and to obey, and not to question. The lines sounds, you do the dirty work, you wash, clean and obey orders without questions. This line encapsulates the power imbalance that drives the story. It's not just a description of duties, it's a psychological command that is used so that by humiliating Hisham in front of others, Dr. Basoni can enforce fear as a method of control. Now, notice how Hisham responds. He doesn't argue, he's just silent, and that silence is actually the first stage of submission. In the appointment interview are therefore not a conversation, it's actually a ritual initiation. The moment the system stamps its ownership on the newcomer souls. From this moment, Hisham idealism begins to die, replaced slowly by fear, confusion, and resignation. That's it for scene 1. Now we move on to scene 2.
Months turned into years. Hisham worked harder than anyone else, hoping merit would triumph. But in a system built in favoritism, knowledge alone could not save him.
Doctor, I failed my master's exam. Congratulations, my boy. What do you mean, sir? Sir, I had no mistake in my written and practical exam. My oral exam supposed to
You failed because you didn't deserve to succeed.
But sir, I worked really hard.
Hey, listen, Vic. This is not a school exam. We don't let everyone become a surgeon just because they can memorize everything. It's not about what you know. It's about who please me. You will not succeed until I say so.
Yes, sir. I get it.
1, 2, 3.
My son, it's envy. All those jealous eyes. We must go to Lady Sugar Plum Shrine. You read pass over the incense 7 times, so it will cleanse your bed back.
But mother, it's not envy, it's corruption.
Still, it can hurt to pray. Please listen for me.
Fine, whatever you say.
To please his mother and perhaps his fate, Hisham obeyed. But what he truly sought was not blessing, but a way to survive. And soon he would find it.
Okay, now we'll take a look at scene 2. Okay, scene 2 marks the emotional collapse of Hisham. After working tirelessly, he fails his master's exam. The reason? Not his performance, but the politics of pleasing the chairman. This shows how meritocracy collapses in a corrupt institution. Dr. Mansour, instead of helping, breaks his spirit even further with condescending comments, such as "you will never do as a surgeon." Such statements illustrate procedural cruelty. Slow, polite, but deeply damaging. Meanwhile, this story also introduced a cultural contrast through Hisham's mother, where she burns incense and prays to Lady Sugar Lam, a local saint, hoping for his son's success. This detail reflects Cairo popular religiosity, where people rely on superstition when logic fails. It's kind of a coping mechanism, a sign that when systems become injustice, people turn to faith for comfort. By the end of this scene, Hisham begins to understand that in this kitchen, the recipe for success is not just hard work, but obedience. Next, we'll move to this last scene, scene 3.
No one knew what happened behind Dr. Bassani's closed door that day. But from that moment on, Hisham changed, and the kitchen boy became the master's favorite.
From now on, anyone who want to speak with me must go through Dr. Hisham.
Isn't he the one who used to put a fire on?
You cannot say like that. Now he is the boss's shadow. Careful what you say.
Hisham, congratulations on passing your master.
Thank you, Dr. Manso. I owe it all to the Pasha.
Yes, of course.
Why is the report is not ready yet? Do you think the Pasha will be happy to hear this?
I owe it all to you, Pasha.
From brilliance to obedience, from purity to corruption, Hisham's journey mirrors the soul of a society where power devours merit and the kitchen boy become the master.
Now, finally, at scene 3, scene 3 is the story turning point and tragic resolution. Okay, in this scenario, Hisham has a mysterious hour-long private meeting with Dr. Bassioni. The narrator, the witness, admits that no one knows what happened inside Dr. Bassioni's office. But when Hisham emerges, he is no longer the same person. He now speaks with authority, such as, will the Pasha be happy? He begins punishing the nurses, scolding the juniors, and enforcing the same rules that once humiliated him. He even aces in second exam, this time thanks to Chair's influence. This transformation represents moral decay. Hisham has learned to survive by becoming what the system rewards, a replica of his oppressor. He trades morality for success. Some symbolism, such as the mirror, serve as a powerful metaphors. The mirror reflects how he has become someone else. He becomes someone else of a corrupted man. The story also delivers some key messages such as power corrupts, success without integrity is another form of failure. Hisham's transformation completes the cycle, which starts from being a victim to a servant, then to the original enforcer. Now, we move to the next presenter. My colleague Badaria will help us understand how these scenes connect each other through deeper themes, tone, and moral implications.
Thank you, Tanaj. Now, let's begin with character analysis. Because each figure in this story represents an aspect of Egyptian institutional culture and human nature itself. Firstly, we have Hisham, the protagonist. He begins as a symbol of innocence idealism who is hardworking, respectful, and pure. But repeated humiliation and injustice push him into despair. His downfall isn't sudden, it's gradual. It's the result of small compromises. By the end, he mirrors the system cruelty. Hisham's tragedy lies in internal conflict. He wants to belong, but to belong, he must betray himself. Next up, we have Dr. Baswani, the antagonist. He is charismatic yet tyrannical. He maintains power through performance, loud voice, flashy attire, and dramatic punishments. He called himself the Pasha, an old Egyptian title of respect, where showing how hierarchy and ego dominate the workplace. Through Bassioni, the author critiques institutional power and how it breeds fear instead of inspiration. Other than that, we have Dr. Manso, the cynic. Unlike Bastioni's open cruelty, Manso's cruelty is quiet. He discourages students, delays thesis, and manipulates progress bureaucratically. He is the system's hidden poison, who is polite but destructive. Last but not least, we have Hisham's mother and the nurses. They represent ordinary Egyptians who caught between faith and helplessness. Their use of incense and prayer highlights cultural spirituality and emotional resilience even in unjust conditions. Together, these characters reveal a complete ecosystem of corruption, faith, fear, and survival. Now, let's connect all of this to the themes and literary tone of the story. First, power reproduces itself. Yesterday's crime become today's oppressors. The institution ensures obedience through humiliation. Second, merit versus patronage. Knowledge matters less than pleasing authority. The system rewards royalty, not excellence. Third, language as domination. Words like kitchen boy turn language into a weapon, where Hisham adopts his same language later, proving internalized oppression. Next, moral compromise and identity drift. Hisham's transformation show how the human spirit bends under pressure. The story asks, how much of yourself are you willing to lose to succeed? Next, for tone and mood. On early part, the tone and mood are hopeful and admiring Hisham's dream of success. In the middle, the mood become tense and claustrophobic, where the constant humiliation happened. And in the end, it was bittersweet, where outward victory and inner emptiness. The narrator's tone is satirical yet critical. She doesn't judge directly, instead, she describes absurd detailing, ties, sideband, routines, and letting readers feel disgust naturally. Next, message and multicultural insight. At its core, The Kitchen Boy is about moral corruption under power, but it's also a universal story. Although set in Egypt, this narrative resonates globally. Every culture, every organization has its own kitchen, a place where hierarchy crushes individuality. Whether it's a hospital, school, or corporation, the same dynamic repeats. People are silenced to survive. Through this Egyptian context, we gain multicultural awareness. We see Cairo's workplace culture, which recitals difference, faith, insights. But yet, we also recognize the same human weaknesses everywhere, which is ambition, fear, and conformity. This blend of local realism and universal psychology is what makes Alaa al-Aswany's writing so impactful.
As we come to the end of our presentation, let's take a step back and reflect on what the Kitchen Boy truly tells us. It is not just about Hisham's life, but about all of us. This story may take place in a hospital in Cairo, but in reality, it's a universal microcosm of power and morality. It forces us to look at how institutions shape human character and how easily the values we believe in can be twisted by systems of fear and ambition. At first, Hisham represents every young dreamer, hopeful, idealistic, full of purpose. He believes knowledge and hard work will carry him far. But the system teaches him something else, that survival often depends on surrender. And in that surrender, we see the tragedy of countless real lives, people forced to choose between success and self respect.
Exactly. Hisham's journey isn't just personal, it's structural. He doesn't fall because he is weak, but because the system around him rewards weakness disguised as loyalty. We can apply this reflection to any environment, such as universities, offices, even our own classroom. How many times have we seen people advance not because of merit, but because of resisting to authority? The author, Alaa Aswany, invites us to question that. He wants us to realize that when system reward obedience more than honesty, the entire system becomes morally bankrupt. So, when Hisham finally succeeds, we don't feel joy. Instead, we feel discomfort. His victory is hollow, his promotion is poison. Because it isn't the triumph of excellence, but it's the triumph of imitation.
And that's what makes this story so powerful. Its moral ambiguity. There's no simple hero or villain here. Even Dr. Basin, as cruel as he seems, is also a product of the same corrupted system. He was once someone's kitchen boy too. This endless cycle of domination and submission is what the author criticized. It shows how power reproduces itself. It's how yesterday's victim becomes tomorrow enforces. Think about it. How many of us, in small ways, imitate the very behaviors we once disliked just because they seem to work? That's the uncomfortable truth this story exposes.
So, the message isn't only about Egypt or medicine, it's about the human condition. It's about what happens when systems stop valuing integrity. When that happens, the most talented people either give up or give in. And once they give in, they start perpetuating the same injustice they once hated. The story also invites empathy. Instead of just condemning Hisham, we are asked to understand how the world shaped him, to realize that moral compromise rarely begins with evil intent. It begins with exhaustion, with fear, with wanting to belong. And that's what makes this story timeless. It speaks to any generation in any place.
Yes, and it also encourages self-reflection. We, as a reader and students, are not just observers, we are potential participants in such system. If we stay silent in the face of injustice, even small acts of favoritism, bullying, or unfairness will make us become part of the same machinery. So ask yourself, when faced with unfair power, will you conform or confront? Will you be the one who admits cruelty or the one who breaks the pattern? These questions are the heart of the teacher's boy. And that's why the story remains relevant not only in Egyptian hospitals but in every corner of human society.
So, to tie everything together, the kitchen boy exposes the anatomy of corruption, not through politics or crime, but through the quiet transformation of an ordinary man. This story ends with Hisham's success, but the tone is uneasy. His friends celebrating him, yet they feel something has changed. That last line implicates everyone, including us, as bystanders who sense injustice but remain silent. In that silence lies the story's deepest message. Corruption survived not because of evil people, but because of ordinary people who adapt to it. If there is one lesson we can take from this story, is this. Integrity is not inherited, it's a daily choice. The moment we stop questioning authority, the moment we justify small wrongs for personal gains, we become kitchen boys ourselves. So, may this story remind us, whether we become teachers, doctors, or leaders, that the true measure of success is not who we please, but what values we uphold.